Welcome to an extra special edition of my show. I won't be back for another week, but I'll put up some old on my Facebook. I'll highlight some old videos. But I might do a couple of random things with no background this week, just as a kind of thingy. But I'm not got major plans or anything yet. But I've been watching films and stuff. But the idea of this video actually is about watching films while having anxiety. Really, I just thought because I have an anxiety condition, which sometimes pretty bad, sometimes not so bad, depending on the severity of the day, basically. And you probably notice there are a lot of films that I have watched. It's like, how does that kind of work? I just thought it'd be quite interesting to make a video about anxiety, because when you have anxiety, sometimes your concentration's really bad. Now, for a start, I would say because of anxiety, there are many days during the week I do not watch anything. Like, there are days when I look through what I've watched, it's like nothing was feeling ill, nothing was feeling ill. That can go on for days sometimes. And sometimes that leaves a gap when I've realised I need to take a break because I need to take a break because I'm anxious, so I don't want to keep going again. And that becomes a problem. And my channel sometimes is like I get overactive and my brain starts to go and I become almost addicted to doing videos. In a sense, you don't really need to. And sometimes you're doing videos that are a bit, not what I think are my best videos. But also the fact is just film watching itself, how that can be exhausting and how what it does to you. And really, it's a case of when you're feeling good, you do. When you're feeling bad, you don't. That's kind of the first thing. Is when I'm feeling rotten, I'm down, I'm not doing anything. So, because of an anxiety condition, that really takes my energy levels away. I mean, really, sometimes you can't bother doing anything, just lying in bed and hoping that it goes away. So there's that. That's kind of a problem. There's also just concentrating in films, because you don't have that much concentration if you have anxiety sometimes, especially when it's really bad. So if it's a longer film, I may watch it in pieces. That is possible. I mean, I may watch it in pieces. I may have a good day and watch it through. But if it's a longer film, there's a good chance I may have watched it in pieces. There's you're not watching Napoleon all the way through. The Evil Gangster Napoleon. There's no way of watching that all the way through, if you don't have anxiety. But I'll probably watch it in smaller bits. And I may have to take a little break during the film sometimes. But watching films is an easier task than reading. I find I used to be a big reader because of anxiety. I'm no longer a big reader, which is very frustrating because I enjoy reading, but you find yourself falling asleep. Film watching is easier that way because it's just watching a film, it's coming to you. And if you're not that engaged in a film, like a trashy film, it doesn't take that much from you. I mean, let's face it, I like Godzilla films. Godzilla films do not require that much concentration. Same like Gamera films. They don't require concentration. Your mind can wander during dialogue scenes quite easily. So those are kind of easier, but I do have a kind of concentration gap where I'm between half an hour and 40 minutes. It's kind of, my concentration's starting to wander. So if it's a good film and it's 1 hour and a half long, I can probably manage it fine. But sometimes I'm going to take a break. Even if it's just turning off a little bit, going for a little wander, then coming back and watching the rest. It is a thing you have to be aware of. If you have anxiety, these things will drag you down and make you feel bad. So it's like one of those things, it's like, if you have anxiety, watching films, even though it's much easier than reading, still is a thing that can really get to you. It can kind of cause you to watch less good films than you probably should. That's one of the reasons why I probably do a lot of what the hell is this, because my concentration for masterpieces, well, I'm very hungry to watch them. Sometimes my concentration's not that good, so I might not I don't have enough concentration to watch a bunch of them in a row, like over days. It's just like I'm not going to be able to pull that off. There's just no way. Even though I'd really want to, it's not going to happen. Like my concentration is not there because of anxiety, and my brain will start to go crazy. And if you get engaged in a film, your brain starts to look at different things in the film. So that's good for analysis. So one of the reasons my video is going into a lot of detail is because my brain won't stop. It's like, which is good for video, but also not so good for me because my brain won't stop. So sometimes I have to stop the film and go do something and come back to it. And it's just that thing you kind of have to be aware of when you're watching films with anxiety. Sometimes it will mess you up. So it does mean it's good for analysis, but it could mean it's bad for you sometimes. Like, I can watch a film that's really stupid and suddenly stress out and go for no apparent reason. I can stress out over what shall I watch later on in the day. Even though I've got better at that actually. I've learned to relax and meditate and not worry about it. But that's kind of weird stuff you get with anxiety if you're a film watcher. That's just one of those things you have to deal with. I've got a bunch of films that I've bought that I really should watch that I haven't. So that's one of the things I'm doing now is just stop buying and actually look back at my pre-orders. Not my pre-orders. Like, I've got pre-orders, I'll buy them, but everything else I'm going to try and go to my backlog a lot more now than ordering new stuff. I'm try and catch up in that thing, but also do it at a certain pace. Because you probably noticed this year I've been stop-start. The channel's been really stop-start, much more than normal. It's just because my anxiety's been up and down all year, and it's like there's not much I can do about it. It's just like if you've got anxiety, you might have a good month or two, but then you can have a bad month or two. So it's like it always changes, always messes your head up. So your average anxiety thing can go from I'm feeling a lot better now. Then suddenly it's I'm feeling so much worse now. Then it's a bit better, and it's so much worse. So So I mean, at a certain point, I've just made videos at a certain length, really. If I'm doing a podcast with Ronan, or if I'm guesting on like Dion and Hussey's channel when they're doing one of the podcasts, it's not so bad because they're doing most of the heavy lifting, really. Maybe you look at my Ronan podcast, he's the one who's kind of like going from A to B with it. I'm the one who's making silly comments. I'll let him talk, and that gives me a chance to kind of recover, really, and make my points, which hopefully aren't so OCD or anything. But that's the thing is, like, with anxiety, it's good in the sense that because of a low concentration, I do my brain does go, so I do actually pay attention to a lot of details, but also means I get really tired. But in those kind of podcasts, basically what it means is, I let everyone else do the heavy lifting. And when I'm the one doing myself, I try and encourage the other person to talk a lot. Because it's just easier. But that's the thing is like, I thought it'd be interesting to do a video about this is because it's not something people talk about much, is the idea of what happens when you've got anxiety. You're a film watcher. No one ever, I mean, we all know if you have anxiety, if you're reading, it really messes you up. It really makes it hard. Your attention to detail reading something can be pretty bad. And I know it, in fact, because my mind will wander like crazy when I'm reading anything now, and it's really annoying. And even in bad films, sometimes my mind can wander like crazy if I'm not engaged. And even watching good films, I need to stop sometimes just to kind of, because your body gets really uptight. Because you're watching a film on the big screen, if you've got a projector or something, you get really involved in something. You need to stop and pause and just go for a little walk for a bit, to lie down for a bit. Then it's just anxiety. So there's not much you can do about it. It's just that's the way it is. But it does affect the channel. It does mean I can't do things that I would like. I can't do as many like high class films. There's certain films I would want to watch for a few weeks that I haven't around to get because it's like that's too much work at the moment. Because it's just like it just feels so exhausting to watch something that good. And that's because I'm anxious more than it's not doing to do with the film. It's just like so that affects the output in a weird way. Because sometimes you might see there's a lot of pulpy stuff one week. It's like, why is there a lot of pulpy stuff? It just probably means I've been anxious, and that's why. And there's other weeks where maybe there's a lot more highbrow stuff. It's because maybe I've had a good week, so I've managed to watch some good stuff. And that kind of affects your output in a way that I don't think anyone really realises. You know. So I can have good weeks, and I can have a few good days, and I'm fine. And then there's other times I can just have a terrible week, and you might have had what I had in September, where basically September's a write-off. I thought I was back by the last week, and I haven't been, so it's just like, that's the way it goes. I have been watching films, but it's been at a lower pace. That's just the way my channel kind of runs, is because I do have anxiety, so you probably notice pills behind me. So it does affect your channel in a way that maybe you might not appreciate. It's just like, that's why certain films are covered. That you're probably thinking, he could probably do better than that film. Why is he doing that? That's the reason why a lot of the time. I really enjoy watching the Toyota films, the Tsukamoto films, but sometimes you really need a break from them. And sometimes your brain just can't take them. So it is good having anxiety, because it does make me the OCD levels does make me very attentive to details, but it also means I'm tired a lot. So I thought that'd be a good explanation, because I thought I really should have explained this at some point in the past, and I really haven't. But I think it is quite good to talk about it, because it's like, it is a major part of the channel. You may have seen a few videos I've done in the past about anxiety, how to survive anxiety during the pandemic and things like that. It is something I live with, but it's something that does affect the channel. So, yeah, I mean, it's like, you're not going to, I mean, even like, if you see a longer video by me, I've probably done it in bits. I've probably stopped and started it. It's like, anything too long, I'm pretty much letting another person run with it, and I'm kind of make comments once in a while, but I'm really glad to have the time just to sit and listen, rather than having to say too much. It's just a churn of anxiety. That's just the way it works. So I hope this video is interesting to you. I hope it kind of explains something about the channel, why it is the way it is. But I just thought it'd be good to do a video of this. I do have kind of ideas for videos. I may do a few this week, I may not. But it will be like this. There won't be any background stuff. Because I'm still kind of, I have watched films I want to talk about, but it's kind of like I'm not having the best of weeks or months, so there we go. So I'll be back soon though. I will be back next month. I've got a lot of stuff to really do, but it's just, the channel's kind of, it's a stop-start channel. It's always going to be a stop-start channel. So I thought I'd just do a video explaining why it's a stop-start channel. Because I have been stop-starting a lot this year, so I thought it'd be good to explain it. So, bye for now. I hope you have a good week.